I'm having a heck of a day already. Oh my goodness.
Long day.
Yes. Well, it seems like, when you don't have anything planned, nobody bothers you, right? Like, nobody wants to call you. And,
yes.
Yeah, as soon as you got something you got to do, then it's like everybody decides, oh, I got to call Shell.
I know that feeling. The one moment you actually think you've got a few seconds to yourself where you could just do what needs to be done. Nobody's going to bother you. Then, of course, every Tom, Dick, and Harry and some uncle from like 5 years ago decides they want to contact you.
Yep.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I've had that kind of weekend, though. I've had, just technical issues. Just, this is broken, that's broken, this isn't working. It's been insane. Oh. So, well, thank you for coming back on the podcast. Yay!
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. Not like I've technically ever been here before.
Right? Well, for those that are listening, this is our second take because the first one, I do not know what happened to the audio, man. I do not understand. The file just got corrupted somehow, and the original take was good. So when I had rendered it, I deleted the original like an idiot, right? Because I thought it was good, yeah. So then when I, after I fully did the render, well, I had it in the editing program, it sounded good, right? As soon as I rendered that and listened to it, I was like, what is going on? This is terrible.
Oh, no.
But I learned,
no, that's not good.
I learned a whole lot about Audacity and how to use that program because I was trying so hard to fix it.
I think that's the worst thing when something goes absolutely wrong and you've got no other choice than to either redo it or to try and fix it somehow. So you start Googling, you start having a look, you start looking at tutorials, you start trying to figure out what the fuck am I going to do to actually get this working again. And then after 2 hours of just pure anger, you just decide, well, screw this, let's just give up, let's try this again.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was doing too. Every tutorial, every anything that would help, I was trying. What is the worst? What is the worst technical thing that's ever happened to you?
The worst technical thing that's ever happened to me. Well, there was going to be a series on my channel. Now, you obviously know the game Don't Starve Together, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I do know it.
Yeah. So I go one of my friends, and we decided, we're going to possibly do a collab on the game. So let's jam out. Now, what we originally had planned, we were going to sit down one Saturday, and we were going to do about a 4.5 hour session. That way I could break up that 4.5 hours into about 4 or 5 episodes, 30 minutes each maybe, that we'll have enough content for quite a while. Yeah. So we sit down, we make sure everything's up and running, everything's perfectly fine, and we go for it, and we start playing. 4.5, almost 5 hours later, I'm just tired, I want to get to bed. So we say goodnight. So finally wake up the next morning, I decide, okay, let's get into this. Let's start recording. Let's start editing all of this. My mic was off.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Your mic was off the whole time.
4.5 hours of footage. You could hear her speak, no problem. But you couldn't hear me speak. And I was not going to do a voiceover of 4.5 hours. There was no damn ways I was going to do that.
Oh, yeah, there's no way. I would have done it. I would have had to redo it too. There's no way that...
I didn't know whether I wanted to cry, whether I wanted to throw my computer out the window, and I'm like, how? And then I realized when I sit at night and I'm watching a movie or something like that, I like to play with that little button that switches your microphone on and off. I like to play with that button. And then forgetting to check that it was actually on when we started recording, there we go. 4.5 hours, no audio, just lovely footage. And oh my gosh, I wanted to cry. I literally wanted to cry.
Oh, yeah. I bet. Oh, that'd be a nightmare. all that time. Oh, no. Yeah.
If it was a short little video, a simple video that I was doing that's maybe an hour or maybe 30 minutes long, then I wouldn't have minded too bad because then we just contact the person and be like, hey, we got to do this again. But that was 4.5 hours.
Did you guys get pretty far in the game too?
Well, I'm shit at the game. We established that much.
So that game's hard. That's why I asked. I'm like, yeah, Don't Starve Together is like one of those games that's like really difficult to play. At least I think so.
I'm not going to lie, we were going to try and bullshit the system a little bit. After we tried for the first like hour and just died within like the third minute, we decided, well, no one will know. Let's just go and change the settings. Don't have so many bad guys and make sure there's lots of resources.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's got a learning curve to it, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, we eventually started getting the hang of it. We eventually started surviving a little bit longer. We actually knew that when night comes around, get light, you know, the basics. Finally started figuring everything out, and then everything just falls through its own course.
Right? Oh man. So all that and the mic wasn't working.
Yep.
Oh no.
Was your biggest technical fail this one that happened now with the audio from us? Because what? We spoke for about an hour and a half, an hour and a 47. Yes.
And it was awesome conversation. It was fantastic. I mean, it really was. I learned a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, no, I can't lose this. I can't, you know. And I was just so disappointed that happened. And it wasn't even the recording itself. It was Sony Vegas. It's always Sony Vegas that, like, destroys my videos. I don't know
That's why I don't do Sony Vegas.
Yeah, you see, you're smart, man. You're really smart. You must have heard all the other complaints about Sony Vegas, huh?
Well, actually, like I think with Sony Vegas, it's a balance. I mean, you've got your people that obviously use it. I mean, some of the biggest YouTubers have used it and used it to great success. And for some unknown reason, a lot of people have been complaining about a lot of things like it's not encoding properly, or the rendering is shit, or it messes out with the audio. And I've had a lot of people, and there's so many tutorials and so many little tricks online of how you can fix these minor little issues. But I mean, is that really what you want to do the whole time? Is just fix minor issues?
Yeah. The thing about Sony Vegas is that it has a lot of add-ins and plugins and different things that you can do to the video, different effects that it has that automatically comes with it, and you know it's got a lot of extras that comes with it. So you're like, oh, this is cool, but it only works like I want to say 70% of the time. 70, you know, like
70 is better than nothing.
Yeah. This is true, like, especially with animations, I've noticed a lot of time because I'll do animations on my laptop, because that way I can lay down, you know, if I'm like laying in bed, I can mess around with the animation, right? Yep. But my main PC is upstairs and it has the Sony Vegas on it. So when I import the animation into Sony Vegas, it changes the color. I don't know why. I have no idea, but it's.
My question is, that a Sony Vegas issue, or is that a Sony Vegas user issue?
Right? Oh, I've tried everything. It just seems like it does not like when I import stuff from GIMP into Sony Vegas, because it'll change the color. And I'm like, what? And then you gotta mess around with the settings and try to get it back to where it was, so it's like looks nice. But
I don't have the patience. I do not have the patience for that. Now, by all means, I mean the editor that I use, by all means, it's not rated like massively amazing. But you know what? I did my research on the editing software that I wanted to use. I didn't exactly want to pay for too much for it, and I ended up paying quite a bit for it actually. And I'm actually using the HitFilm 4 Pro. No, that's about, and the last thing is it's a once-off payment. It's not like a lot of other editing softwares that is like a monthly subscription. It's a once-off purchase, and then obviously it updates whenever there's new information or new basically tidbits to it. And that was HitFilm 4 Pro, and I like everything that I've needed to do, once that I've had it from my editing software has added. I've been able to do it in it, so I've been happy. I've had no complaints. Obviously, I've had one or two mistakes. But I can honestly turn around and say that those mistakes that were made were purely on my side. And I had no idea what the fuck I was doing.
It was the program, yeah, okay. I've heard good things about Adobe Premiere, too. Everybody was talking.
No, apparently Adobe Premiere is like one of the best editing softwares that you can use. The only fact is I don't like that it's a monthly subscription that you have to pay, and it's not exactly cheap. I think it is actually monthly. I'm not 100% sure, but as far as I know, I think it is monthly, and I don't think it's a cheap download either.
No, I'm sure it's not. That's number one. No, I'm sure it's not. Goodness, I'm gonna have to get rid of Vegas though. I'm really frustrated with it.
Never mind. Adobe Premiere Pro, the Creative Cloud, is an annual subscription, so it's about $700 a year that you need to pay for it.
$700 a year? Every year?
Okay, so it's not that bad. It's really not that bad if you think about it.
I mean, I don't know. that is really expensive. Holy crap! Whoa.
And then you've got the Adobe CS6 Production Premium, which is in my currency about $42,000. So it's about $4,200 once-off payment.
Damn. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
that's a bit more than I'm prepared to pay.
Yeah, I agree. There's no way I'd be paying that much. Oh my goodness.
That's madness.
Yeah, it is. Oh, well, aside from editing software, headphones. It doesn't matter how comfortable, how plushy or how expensive or anything my headphones that I buy are. After a few games of having headphones on my head, my ears hurt me. What about you?
I'm actually not going to complain. I mean, I spend a lot of time with my headphones on my ears. Obviously, recording a video every single day, making sure there's content every single day. Obviously, with my own gaming and that kind of stuff, I've got my headphones on my head a lot. And honestly, I mean, I use the Caliper gaming headphones, and the foam that they've got around it, it's very soft, it's very comfortable. Nothing in my ear actually gets pinched or squished into the openings. It's actually quite comfortable, and I don't know, I can wear. I think the longest I've worn them is that 4.5 hour recording session. At the end of it, I was still fine. I would have easily been able to carry on and just continue wearing it. So I don't have that problem, but I don't know if that's a brand specific thing, or if it's just possibly, I don't know, do you have sensitive ears?
I've tried 10 different brands. I'm not kidding. I've tried all different brands, and the one that I have on my head right now are from Skull Candy. That's the name of the company.
Okay.
And
yeah.
They have the mesh plush, inserts, where it's when you touch it, it's very, very soft. And it's very, very squishy in your hand. But still, I have a really hard time keeping them on my head for really long periods of time. And I actually had thoughts in my head, in wrestling, when dudes get their ears hit a lot, they get that thing called cauliflower ear, right? And I'm geez, I hope that headphones don't cause cauliflower ear. Wouldn't that be terrible? I'm oh no, you wear your headphones all the time, then you're gonna get that nasty looking ear, and I'm no, but. All of us YouTubers are walking around with freaky ears, but no.
No, I don't think it will happen from that. I mean, cauliflower ear is a condition, obviously, where the external portion of the ear is hit and it develops either blood clots or either a collection of fluid under the skin. Now, simply putting a earphone into your ear is not going to do it. I mean, you'd have to be forcing those things and smashing it in with a hammer before you're going to be causing any kind of damage. So no, you're not going to get cauliflower from using earphones. That's for damn. But now, do you use earphones or do you use headphones?
Headphones. The actual headphones that you actually put on your head. I'm not using the earbuds, the ones that go in your ears. I'm using the ones that are actually on top of my head. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to make 100% sure which ones you're actually talking about, because no, those little things that you put into your ears, I hate them. Those earphones, I hate them. I'm not a fan of them. If I have to listen to music, if I have to do my own thing, I'll use headphones 24/7. It's a lot more comfortable. The sound just surrounds you a lot more.
Yeah. Yes. I agree with that.
With the games that we play, for example, both you and I are massive horror game fans. And one of the biggest things for me about a horror game is obviously the atmosphere. Yes. It's how well the sound has been done. And if a game has got that right, if a game has fully drawn you in and made that sound immersive as possible, you want a decent set of headphones so you can experience the full, the noises in the difference, the subtle noises in the background, the noises that aren't very loud and very faint that you have to be very careful to try and hear. That's where a decent set of headphones comes in, so you can hear things like that. I mean, sound, a lot of people don't think that sound obviously makes the game. But I can tell you, I can point out 1 or 2 games where if you had to play it, you'd be shocked because the game's good, but the sound is absolutely appalling. Some of the worst beeping sounds, some of the worst sounds in general. And I mean, that's the last thing you want. So a decent headphone with a decent game that has got decent sound, I mean, it makes the experience just that much more. Just immerses you a little bit more into the game.
Oh, I absolutely agree. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, it immerses you more, so you feel like you're more in the game. Yeah, those sounds really do make a difference. Well, not to mention, like Resident Evil, for example, the original Resident Evil, the liquor monster, you would hear it coming up on you because you could hear that sound. And I would have headphones on and I'd be playing it and I'd hear that and I'm like, oh, where is he at? He's gonna come get me. He's probably on the ceiling somewhere, but you could hear him before you could see him, and it would like freak me out. Like, ah! Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly the same with Diamond Head. I mean, Diamond Head, you wouldn't hear him walking. You'd hear him dragging that sword behind him, that massive, overgrown, bloody cut a house in half sword. You'd hear that being dragged on the floor, that metal on ground sound, that heavy metallic sound on the ground.
Yes.
You'd hear him dragging down that, and it would just send shivers down your spine. Now, obviously, if you're listening through speakers, or if you're listening through maybe not the best quality headset, you might miss subtle sounds like that. But obviously, the decent headphones, you've got this chill that runs down your spine. All the hairs just stand up.
I know the feel. Oh, man. Yeah, in indie games, they're missing a lot of that sometimes, I feel. Like, some people get it really right. Some people really put the effort into the game and, like, add all those sound effects and stuff, and other people kind of concentrate too much on what stuff looks like, I feel. Would you agree with that?
Indie games are... It's a mix. I think it's quite simply because indie games are exactly that. I mean, they're normally games that are produced by very small companies or individuals or very small development studios. So they possibly don't have the budget or the experience to try and create, obviously, something that we are used to from massive companies. I mean, taking somebody that has developed a single-standing, one-person indie game on GameJolt or itch.io or IndieDB, you can't really compare a game like that to something that Bethesda, Valve, or Activision or something like that has created. The budgets are massive. I mean, that is one person compared to thousands of people working on a game. I mean, I've got a video that's actually going live tonight. It's a game that I played. It's called Bunker 16. It's a horror game. It's a short little horror game. The sounds in that game, apart from the game being obviously beautiful, I mean, which it actually was, and I really did enjoy it, apart from it being visually stunning, the game's sounds freaked me the fuck out. No jokes. Decent headsets are made. I was hearing screams off in the distance. I was hearing footsteps that sounded, it was like right behind me. I heard this voice at one stage, and it felt like it was right here by my left shoulder. And I just had goosebumps all the way down my spine. So indie games are, it's a tough thing to say across all platforms, because obviously there's vast amounts of experience on places like GameJolt, itch.io. I mean, some people are developers that are brand new to the whole field. They've tried their hand at creating a game. And some people are people that have got full degrees and qualifications, and they're trying to get their name out there by creating games on basically free channels such as those ones that I mentioned. So there's a whole like plethora of games that you can find obviously out there. So it's, in general, yes, you're not going to expect amazing things from an indie game simply because of budgets and obviously time scale. I mean, think about it. What was it? GTA 5? GTA 5, obviously visually stunning, sound-wise absolutely amazing. I think it took 5 to 6 years to make.
Oh, yeah.
Most of the games you get on indie games are made in a couple of months or a year or two max. So obviously they are completely different from what you and I like and what you and I compare it to. And that is sometimes unfair. Which is why I've always said, a game doesn't have to be stunning for it to be good. If the developer has got the basics right and the developer has flushed out all of the bugs and got the main premise of the game correct, I mean, it can look like a dog's arsehole and still be good. I mean, perfect example, that Stick Veteran game that I played. It's also one of the videos on my channel. I think you actually commented on it stating that you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It is literally a game where you as a little stick man. And you're fighting on platforms, you're playing against bots, or you can play online. I mean, that game is literally black and white, and it's stickmen. But the basics were done
Yeah.
Exactly. The basics were done right. The basics were good. So the game ended up being a lot of fun. And quite a couple of people have actually told me that they had the exact same experience when playing the game. So it's not always about looks, because I've seen beautiful games being absolute flops.
All right. Well, I've tried my hand in making a couple of video games, but I was just, when it comes to the horror genre, I noticed that too many indie developers concentrate too much on, there enough cobwebs? Is there enough, how creepy can we make this house look? How, dark can we make it without making it too dark? They concentrate too much on what it looks like other than, the sound effects, the footsteps, the whispers, moans, stuff like that is the point that I was getting across. But it's not that isn't important. Graphics, do help, but of
course.
Yeah. If you concentrate too much on what the player is looking at rather than what they're listening to and what they're immersed in, I feel like it takes away from the game. And I've seen indie games that are absolutely beautiful, that they did this fantastic, wonderful job, but the game doesn't suck you in. It doesn't immerse you in that world. It doesn't make you
have depth.
Yeah, it doesn't have depth. But I just feel like that's the way people are going right now. It just seems like graphics. Gotta have the graphics. Gotta have this. It's gotta be pretty. It's gotta be beautiful. It's gotta, And I agree with you. I think that some of the simpler games are better. I wouldn't say better, but some of them are just wonderful, even if they don't have the fantastic graphics, because it's got the sound, it's got the immersion. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with obviously wanting to look at something beautiful. We've all played that game where we started up for the first time, especially if you've got a relatively high-end PC and you've been able to switch to the graphics, everything to ultra, to high, and you switch on that game for the first time and you introduced to a world that is absolutely stunning. I think it was the first time I started up Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. The first time I started up that game on my PC, I think I spent the first day and a half just looking at the wilderness, just staring at everything around me. It is an amazing game. If you want a game that offers you everything, beauty, depth in story, freedom, like for example, you can go wherever the hell you want to, do whatever the hell you want to. The game is absolutely phenomenal. It's something I would recommend every single person in the world to play. If you want to play an open world RPG genre game, that is a have to play. Obviously things like Skyrim and Oblivion and any one of the Elder Scrolls games, even the older ones, are quality RPG games. And that's what I've always wanted to say is, like, for example, there is so much potential for a person to go in a certain direction with a game. But as long as you focus on obviously putting out a complete piece of work, a complete product. The biggest concern I've got is so many development companies. They will create a game. They will basically release a game that is unfinished. How many times have you bought a game and literally within the exact same week of you buying the game, there's been like 3 updates? Now, I fully understand that when they obviously get their testers working on the game, when the testers obviously run through the process of making sure about any glitches, any bugs, to basically do the whole reports on the game, there's only a limited amount of testers. And obviously, once it hits the open market, then there's millions of people playing it, so your feedback is going to be a lot more. But when you've got something as game-breaking as literally walking into a door and you glitch out through the map, that is something that's, the little things that just need to get just gone over a little bit more thoroughly before the game actually gets released. But obviously, with the industry as it is, there's games releasing almost every single week, every single month, and obviously it's a big cutthroat field, if you want to call it that. So I can understand that obviously they want to put out their work as fast as they possibly can. But I've always said quality over quantity. Rather than release a game, rather only release a game once every 5, 6, 7 years and release a quality piece of work than pump out a game every single year. And it's basically just a copy and paste of its previous self. So I'm not going to mention any games. I think by me simply saying that, everybody knows exactly what game I'm talking about. Let's not mention names. Let's not mention names.
That's so funny. Don't get me started on playtesters. Don't get me started. I don't know if you've ever seen my rant that's on my channel about playtesters, but like everybody, okay, everybody says, "Oh, I'll play test your game. Can't wait to play test your game." Right? There's even like these sites where people like sign up to be a playtester, right? So you give them your game, and then you never hear from these people. Like never. Like they take your game, and then you don't even know if they played it or not. And you're waiting for feedback, and then you contact them, and they're like, "Oh, well, I was busy," or "Oh, well, I was playing it with my kid, but then my kid went to college and took the game with them, and now I can't play it." And I've heard every excuse, and I'm like, man, nobody wants to actually do the work to do the playtesting. They don't want to, like, find the bugs and stuff. Oh, I had one guy, you ain't even going to believe this one. Okay, get this. I had a guy that, took the game, and then I didn't hear from him for like 3 months, okay? So then I contacted him, and I said, "Hey, how's the game going?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, it's really good," right? And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Did you find a bunch of mistakes?" And he's like, "Yeah, I found some bugs." And I said, "Okay, well, can you give me what I need to fix so far while you're finishing the rest of the game, right?" I'm like, let me work on something while you're still playing it. And he goes,
"Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to keep track of that."
Oh, for Pete's sake. Really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding you. I'm serious. It really happened. Like, I was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me." I'm like, "What do you think a playtester is? You're supposed to find all the bugs so I can fix them. It's not like a free game that I just gave you to play."
Like, I'm not going to lie. A lot of people have that misconception that being a game tester is one of the easiest things in the world to do. I mean, I literally think you're just going to sit and you're just going to play the game for free and be like, "Oh, yes, look at this." And
Right?
if you come across a bug or a glitch or something like that, you need to report it. I mean, my hat literally goes off for the proper game testers that are out there, the people that actually take the job seriously, the people that actually put a lot of time and effort into it. I mean, the amount of work that those guys actually put into it. I mean, you're playing the same game over and over, and unlike us that are playing the game for the experience, they aren't playing it for the experience. They are playing it to specifically find what is wrong with it,
Yep.
to specifically find those problems. I mean, imagine, for example, if you're in a 4x4 square meter room, imagine running in that same room about 1 million times against every object, against every wall, against every platform, jumping everywhere, looking and playing like a complete retard because you're trying to see if there's any problem with the code, if there's anything where something hasn't worked out and you could possibly glitch through the map, fall through because the detection boxes weren't properly set up correctly. I mean, the amount of work that those guys go through, it is absolutely astonishing. And then you get people, for example, that literally just want to do it because they think they're going to be literally playing a game and that's it. I mean, the actual amount of work that goes into it, if you do it properly, it's a shitload of work.
It's funny because people, they will line up to be your playtester. Like, they will beg you, let me play test it, let me play test it. But then they don't actually want to do the work that's involved, like you're saying, it is a lot of work to look for them bugs and make sure you can't, like, walk through the wall in, like, certain parts or, make sure all the, everything works, you can actually solve the puzzles or things like that, right? And people, like,
exactly.
yeah. People, they can't wait to play test your game. They can't wait for you to give them that game, but then they don't actually do it. Oh, it's so frustrating.
No, I think the biggest problem is they think they're going to get the game, and then they could possibly want to do it correctly. They possibly want to do it right, so they do the tedious work of running in the same room, running in circles, bumping against everything, jumping up on everything, crawling, and trying to physically break the game. They literally are willing to do that, but when it actually comes time to write a report, to actually give feedback on what the problem is, they don't quite know how to put that in wording, how to quite go back to the developer and say, "Listen, yeah, this section, this part of here, by doing A, B, and C, it results in Z," for example. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's actually madness. And I mean, a lot of people think that if you're going to test the game, you're just going to be one of the game testers. It's going to be easy work. Nope. A lot of people have that misconception. That's a lot harder than what most people think about it. A lot harder. I mean, I recently got contacted by one of my followers on Twitter, and they're creating a simple little game. It honestly looks like a lot of fun. Nothing beautiful to have a look at, But I mean, if you have a look and you listen to the person and the amount of effort that they are putting into the game, it is absolutely astonishing. I mean, it is amazing how much work this person actually wants to put into the game and how much of himself he's pouring into it, reaching out to the community. What would people like to see? What don't people want to see? What would be considered great in their eyes? What would be considered an absolute flop in their eyes as well? I mean, he's gone overboard. I mean, he's gone for the typical saying of, you can never have enough. You can never have enough.
He's going to be putting a great attitude to have. That is a fantastic attitude to have.
And once again, he came to me and he asked me, listen, would you be willing to do a review on the game once the game is complete? I told him I'd be more than happy to play the game for him. From the screenshots that I've seen, from the amount of information he shared with me, I've got a pretty good idea of what the game's going to be about. So I'll be more than happy to test the game. And then he also asked, okay, before you review the game and obviously publicly release a video on the game, would you mind testing it for me? And I told him, well, I'd be more than happy to test it as well. I'd be more than happy to have a look at the game, point out any mistakes that I possibly find, write up a proper report on either glitches or bugs or game-breaking faults that are there and obviously come back to you. So, I mean, definitely not afraid to do the work. And I mean, if somebody has put that much time and effort into their game, it's just respectful, you know what? Just if they're asking you to do it and you are saying yes, just do it properly. Just bring your side, play the game, do the review, write the report, get back, and then obviously just bring your side. I think that's one of the biggest problems.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, you know, when the creator of the game is counting on you, you know?
Exactly, yeah. He wants your feedback. He wants you to go out and find the problems. And he's waiting for a response so that he or she can obviously then address the problem and obviously further the game and better the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're not coming back to them and you're not giving them the feedback that they need, I mean, that's not fair on the game or the developer.
It's not. But when you can't, like, playtest your own game because you already know everything that you need to do. And you already,
exactly.
You know,
and I mean,
yeah, you
are going to be biased. You are going to have a conflict of interest on the game. You are going to be possibly saying, nope, there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. And the first person outside of yourself that plays it thinks it's an absolute bullshit game.
Right.
So,
right.
So no, you can't review it yourself.
No. But yeah, you can't really, like, for example, puzzles. You already know how to do the puzzle to get to the end result. So to you, that puzzle is not going to be hard at all, right? But to somebody else, that puzzle might be too hard. Somebody might not be able to get actually past that part to actually progress in the game if they can't, like, actually solve that puzzle. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
The one thing I needed more than anything was for somebody to just test out the puzzles, make sure that you can get through it. But I couldn't even get that far. It's like, I would give them my game, and I swear I feel like it would just, like, sit on a table somewhere and collect dust. I guess nobody would get back to me at all. Now, I know that playtesters, if I would have gone to a playtester and paid that person, I'm sure that they would have actually put in the time and effort to actually test it. But as a broke person that's living off of ramen, you know, I was offering it to people that were saying, "Oh, let me, can I? Oh, let me," you know, and then they didn't do it.
I mean, we live in a world where nobody wants to do anything for free. Everybody wants to get paid for doing anything. I mean, the simplest of tasks, a person wants to get paid. And I mean, asking them to do something like test a game thoroughly and come back, no, I want to be paid. No, I won't do it for free. So yeah, if you offered somebody money, I mean, you probably would have had experienced testers come forth and say, I'll do it for you. This is my fee, or this is what I'd like to be paid for, obviously reviewing it, or I work like an hourly rate or whatever the hell it might be. Then you would have had people lining up to try and test your game.
Oh yeah.
But as soon as something is free, people are like, no, but, you know, family and, you want some kind of excuse. Yeah, no.
Yep. I know. It feels like a couple years ago, people were more about sharing and community, and, you know, there was a lot more free games out there too. It seems like more and more people are like, oh, I'll upload my game on Steam, but it's going to be $3 to play it. Or, you know, and it feels like a couple years ago, it seemed like people would upload the game because they wanted people to play it, and it was like free.
Yeah.
Do you feel the
same?
Thing
is, remember, that's going to possibly shoot the developer in the foot. I mean, for example, if you are an experienced developer and you know for a fact that you've possibly done hundreds of smaller indie games and you've now probably collaborated with a smaller development studio, I mean, then if you put like proper time and effort into the game and there's probably been an overhead that you obviously have to cover, then I can fully understand that you want to put the game on, obviously not for too much, but put it up as a reasonable price. And I mean, then if the game is good and it possibly gets the reviews that it needs and you possibly release a free demo on the game, then yes, it can work in the developer's favor. Mm-hmm. The only problem comes, for example, is when you've got a developer that he's brand new to the world, he's just finished taking like a short little course on animations or level design, and he creates a very basic game, but it's actually a bunch of nonsense, and they throw it up on Steam, and they actually think people are going to pay for it. I mean, rather than get the experience, get the feedback from the community, by putting the game for free on GameJolt, itch.io, AnyDB. I mean, there's so many places where there are hundreds, thousands of free games of individuals, smaller companies. There are hundreds of them out there. And these people are all trying to build a name for themselves. They're all pouring everything they've got into these games. And somebody is much rather going to go and get a game that's free, that is good, than pay for a game that is shit.
Yeah, I agree.
So if the developer knows what they're doing, they might be able to still make money from it. But I mean, if you are truly uploading something to Steam and you have got maybe very minimal experience about actually designing a game or developing a game, you aren't going to make the money from it. You might make a couple of dollars here and there from one or two friends that possibly want to support you and would obviously buy the game. But I mean, if the story itself, the reviews and that kind of stuff is bad, I mean, how many times before you buy a game, for example, we'll take Steam as a platform. You go to Steam, you like the game, before you actually buy the game, how many times do you go down and you start reading the reviews? You start reading the feedback of the people that have actually played it. And when a game is, let's say, 80% negative, your brain automatically, or you start telling yourself, maybe I don't want this game as much as I want to. I mean, if 7,000 people have downloaded the game and it's got a 70% negativity rating, why would I want this? And then obviously it pushes you away. And I mean, if you've got a smaller game that nobody's playing and only like 5 people have bought it and all 5 of those are negative, why would you actually pay money?
You ain't trying that shit,
content
right?
that, exactly. You aren't going to pay money for that. However,
right?
However, if you actually see the game, for example, on GameJolt, you see it, it looks pretty interesting. There is still a rating, but there's no money involved.
Yeah, no
then you are at least, exactly, then you are at least willing to try the game. You're at least willing to say, okay, I'll make my own opinions, I'll form my own opinions on it. Let's download it, try it. If it's shit, it's shit. If it's good, it's good. You haven't actually suffered a financial loss because of the game.
I ain't wasting my Steam dollars on that. My Steam wallet, forget about it. Yeah.
So it can go both ways. It could be a success for somebody that has done a decent game. It could be a true success. They can obviously make some money, obviously put it towards possibly a next project, get them the experience that they need, and possibly push them in the right direction. But it can also be the exact opposite. I mean, if nobody's buying the game, the people that have bought it, the feedback is critical or is negative, I mean, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So I'd say if any developers out there, like, start off with free games to get your name out there so people can actually try your shit without having to obviously jump into it. Now, obviously, I can understand there's like 20 of you that are working on the game and you are actually putting your own money into it. But then you can also tell, once again, there's a difference in it being a short little weekend job and it being a 6, 7, 8, 9 months, 1 year investment and constant project. And I mean, have a look. There's a game called Space Engineers from Keen Software House.
It's called what?
Space Engineers. Space Engineers.
Space Engineers, okay.
Yeah, Space Engineers. They've got 2 titles, Space Engineers and Medieval Engineers. It's basically a free roaming sandbox, open universe. I mean, the game has got no boundaries. It's randomly generated. The game has got no limits. And this game started off very, very simple. And I think at the beginning, the game was relatively cheap. I mean, I think it was launched on the 23rd of October, 2013. And it has got an overall rating of 9 out of 10 on Steam. And
nice.
It's one of the best sandbox games that I've ever played. I mean, I think I've got about 400, 500 hours into the game. There's obviously people that have got a lot more out there than that. But I mean, they started off smaller house, smaller game. They just kept working on it. They got the support that they needed. And I mean, they pushed it to the point where every single Thursday for the last 3-4 years, the developers have done an update to the game, either adding in a new block or fixing bugs. I mean, the developers have been listening to the community, listening to what the people want. And I mean, this game to date is currently my most favorite sandbox game. Personally, in my eyes, it trumps Minecraft simply because of what you can do. And I know I'm probably going to shake a lot of people's world by saying that. But I don't know. Imagine taking space and a planet, no loading screens, the imagination and your PC. That is the only limit the game has got. Apart from that, you can do whatever the hell you want to. Build whatever the hell you want to. Go wherever the hell you want to. I mean, that's a perfect example of how something can start off small and it is done right and it just keeps working on that product, listening to what people want, taking critique and taking feedback in a positive way can push a game to the point where it currently is. And now the game has actually got a decent price tag on it. I'm not exactly 100% sure what the game's price is at the moment. I think it's maybe about like $35, $40 on the game.
It really jumped up. Yeah. Okay.
Not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. Actually, no. It's about $30 at the moment. So it's about $30 for the game.
Yeah, that's still a big price tag on there. Wow.
And it's worth it. I mean, it is really, really worth it. And that's what putting time and effort into a game means. And that's what happens when you, and this has got over 44,000 reviews. And out of those 44,000 reviews, it's very positive. I mean, I'm just reading you stats now from the actual Steam page. So, I mean, it's just about the amount of effort and the time and the work that you're willing to put into it. If you're not, it's not going to go anywhere.
Wow, that's great. Oh, wow. Yeah, well, I'll tell you this, though. There is something else that makes me mad about Steam, right? When you're trying to pick out a game. You know, besides, you know, okay, you're cruising on Steam, right? You're trying to find a game to play, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're looking at the reviews and everything, but when you go to actually see, you know, the pictures of actual gameplay or, you know, the little preview that they give you of the game, lately, I've noticed that a lot of games, you click on it and this movie starts to play, right? And it's like, oh, you see the girl, and she's next to the window, and the rain is falling, and everything's so dramatic, and, you know, you see a clock explode or something, and then that's it. They don't actually show you the actual gameplay of the game. It's just like a movie intro, like you're gonna watch a movie. But they don't actually show the actual gameplay. So then you like scroll down and you read the comments and stuff to see before you're gonna actually download the thing. But I've noticed that that's a trend now. Is that, you know, if you're gonna advertise the game on Steam, you're gonna play this movie, maybe a couple of screenshots of something, but they don't actually show the real live gameplay of the game. Have you noticed that too?
Well, think about it this way. I mean, how many times before a game is even announced, or when it does get announced, it doesn't get announced with gameplay footage. It gets announced with a teaser trailer or a unofficial teaser or something like that. It gets the video that gets released is 99% of the time not always actual gameplay. It's more like from a cutscene or a cinematic or something like that. And it's there to build hype. It's there to get you excited for what it could possibly be. I mean, think about all of your biggest titles. I mean, have a look when Prey came out. Now, Prey is not one of the best examples because in the teaser trailer, they actually showed a little bit of gameplay. But there was a lot of cinematic footage in that trailer. And I mean, some of your bigger games, your biggest companies do that. I mean, I think it was Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1, when that official trailer came out, the world exploded. I mean, the people were excited. I mean, it wrecked the amount of views that it got, the amount of likes that the game got. It went absolutely fucking apeshit, to say the least. And I don't think there was a single footage in that trailer that was actually gameplay. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've obviously watched the trailer. I've obviously played the game a lot since. But I don't think there was a single shot of actual gameplay in the initial trailer. And it's designed like that to get you hyped, to get you excited for what's to come. Closer to release date, then they will possibly show you a little bit of gameplay, show you a little bit of in-game footage and that kind of stuff. But obviously, once the game is fully released, you then start looking to the internet for people that have played it, for people that have gone through it. So it could quite simply be a selling gimmick that, for example, you can go to the games page on Steam. You can have a look at it. The reviews look good. The feedbacks look good. The description sounds interesting. You're not quite sold, so they give you a trailer on the game, like a small little cinematic of what you could expect. Now, obviously, that goes both ways. It could either be to the point where it gets you so excited you get into the game and it's an absolute failure, or it could be the exact opposite, and you then download the game because everything else drew you in, and so did the trailer, that when you eventually do download and play it, you are happy and it blows you away with what you've actually just bought. And that was all done. I think it's more of a selling technique and a marketing technique, so much that it's actually Steam's fault. Because remember, Steam's just the moderator, it's just the forum, the site. I mean, the people that load up the games is obviously that's the ones that dictate.
Yeah,
exactly. They want you to buy, so they're going to try. Exactly. So they're going to try everything they can to try and draw you in without giving away too much.
But it kind of does the opposite to me because of my financial situation. Since, okay, like $20-$30 is quite a bit of money to me, you know?
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at the trailer for a game and it's nothing but a cutscene, it kind of makes me feel like, I don't know if I want to spend $20 on this because I didn't actually get to see what the game itself looks like, right? I'd really be more inclined to spend my money on, you know, if they can do their cutscene, but I like to see at least, you know, some screenshots or something of like actual gameplay so that I know what I'm getting myself into, since money is so tight. But
I mean, people buy games for hundreds of different reasons. I mean, you've obviously got the people that buy with their eyes. I mean, they simply want to see, is the game good? Does it look beautiful? If it's beautiful, if it's good, I want it. You get people that buy that, but you get people that buy for storylines, people that don't care what it looks like, but they want to be immersed in it. You got obviously your diehard fans that if a game is designed by that developer or by that development house, I mean, they will buy the game no matter what it is. I mean, I think I'm personally fall into one of those categories. I am definitely a developer whore, for example. I mean, if Bethesda Software makes a game, I know it's going to be good. I don't care. I don't need to watch a trailer. I don't need to read a review. I don't care. If Bethesda makes a game, I will play it. I mean, we all buy games for 100 different reasons. Some people buy based on price. Some people don't care about price. I mean, everybody looks at games at their own point of view. So obviously, when a developer puts out certain things, he's possibly going to have a look at what will get the majority of the people, because I think it's impossible to create something that every single person in the world that looks at it is going to love and want. So I think they focus more on what the majority would enjoy versus what the few might not enjoy. And for someone like yourself, I mean, you obviously wouldn't buy it because it doesn't show off enough about the game. You can't see what you're actually doing. And because, for example, the price tag might be a little bit higher, you might just decide, you know what, let's possibly look for something else. Or possibly go and find some review online or somebody who's actually playing the game so you can get a better understanding. So each person is going to have a look at their own thing when they buy a game, and they're going to buy it all for completely different reasons. But I think it just comes down to what you are looking for that determines whether you are going to buy the game or not.
Right.
Have you ever played a game called Darksiders?
Darksiders. I think, wait, is that with the Four Horsemen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, yes, I have played that.
Okay, now Darksiders 2 realized, I don't want to say realized their mistake, but they did it a little bit better in Darksiders 2. In Darksiders 1, the cinematics in-game were beautifully rendered. It looks like you were watching a movie. It was absolutely stunning. I mean, if anybody
Darksiders 2 is a little more gray in color.
It's not really gray in color. It's just they decided to stick with the same art style as actual gameplay for their actual cinematics as well. I mean, Darksiders, the first one, when you're playing as War, the cinematics looked stunning. It got you excited. You were sitting on the edge of the chair. You couldn't wait to get going. I mean, the monsters, the people, the damage, the destruction, it sucked you in to the point where you literally just wanted to grab hold of that mouse and just start. And then as soon as the game started, you were thrown into what looked like basically extended DA's graphics.
There's a lot going on in the first scene, yeah.
It killed me. It literally killed me. I was so excited. I was so ready to play a game. It was so beautiful. And obviously with the story of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, playing as War, starting the annihilation of the planet, and then I get thrown into that kind of graphics. I think I nearly died. Then obviously I think Darksiders 2 fixed that a little bit, and they decided that the same art style and graphics as what you actually are using in gameplay, they use the exact same art style and graphics for the cinematics. It also immerses you a little bit more. That's where you don't get sucked into this ultra-realistic world just for gameplay to return, and you can literally realize that you've been thrown back into a not-so-great-looking game itself. Obviously, I know that it is an older game. I know that they were obviously hindered by the technology of their time, but still, I think it killed me. It really, really just killed me. I mean, the first Darksiders game, I think, came out in 2010, so it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. And I think it was Vigil Games and Gunfire Games were the developers on that, and THQ was the publishers. But, oh my gosh. Number 2 came along, promised so much. We were waiting for number 3 and number 4, obviously following the other 2 horsemen, and it just never came along. And I died on the inside. I shouted out to the gaming gods, and I was like, why? Why do this to me?
I think that sequels in gaming at least has a better shot than movies, though. Seems like a sequel for a game usually turns out better than, like, say, a sequel for a movie, though. I gotta see that.
No, don't get me started. Those 2 words do not belong in the same sentence. Game and movie. Game and movie. No. I think the only time they have ever possibly a little bit kind of maybe got it right, where they successfully took something that was a game originally and made a movie from it.
Oh no!
Was Assassin's Creed, the latest Assassin's Creed that just came out. It wasn't awful. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't awful.
I haven't seen it.
It's actually good. They actually got the free running and the parkour and that typical Assassin's Creed vibe that you like so much. They got that part right. Some loopholes in the story, didn't quite enjoy it. And I think anybody who's never played the Assassin's Creed games watching the movie would have no fucking idea what's going on. It wasn't bad. The problem is, games take up, if you're looking at full AAA games, titles that we all know and love, the storyline itself, something like Assassin's Creed, you would spend 60, 70, 80, 100, 200 hours playing the game to fully develop the storyline, to fully understand what it is that is going on. And you cannot cram that into a 2-hour movie. You cannot. There's too much content. And that's why I don't think that they will ever be able to properly make a movie from a game. I mean, even when they made World of Warcraft, the movie, I mean, you're looking at a game that is years. Like, that is years and years and years of gaming that has existed. I mean, the original Warcraft, the initial release date for World of Warcraft, I think was November 2004. And they have had so many, like, expansions and add-ons. The story is so rich and so deep that you now want to come along and make a 2-hour movie and think that everybody's going to understand what the hell you're talking about.
Right? Oh, I know.
They're talking about realms and people and heroes and powers and stories that if you've never played World of Warcraft, you will have no fucking idea what's going on. And I think that's why it possibly didn't do the best in the box office.
Oh, totally. Oh, yeah. To somebody just watching it who's never played WoW would look at it and be like, what the hell is this crap? What am I watching right now?
I mean, think about it. Metacritic gave it a 32%. Rotten Tomatoes, 28%. IMDb gave it a 7 out of 10. So, box office, $433.7 million US. Not bad. But yeah, I think the problem there is just the gap in information. They have to make like 40, 50, 60 sequels afterwards to try and explain the full content of what's happened in the last, 14, 15 years since the game's initial release date. I mean, there's way too much information to try and cram into a 2-hour movie. And I think it's the same thing that goes with things like books, and that they're there for a reason. They tell a story a lot more in detail and in depth, just like games do. And then you obviously want to cram it into a movie, try and make some money off of it, and you end up ruining it. I mean, did you know that they made an Assassin's Creed movie a very long time ago?
No.
Like, the Assassin's Creed movie that just came out was not the first Assassin's Creed movie. But the first one was a flop. Like, it was a complete flop.
Wow. No, I didn't know anything about that.
I'm just trying to remember. I can't actually remember what the name of the movie was. I don't think it was actually called Assassin's Creed. There was a miniseries called Lineage, like I think in 2009, that also didn't take off and do too well. I honestly can't remember what the original movie's name was, but I mean, people don't even know that they actually already tried to make an Assassin's Creed movie. They think that this was the first Assassin's Creed movie that was made. No. They tried once before and failed badly. They tried making a Mario Brother movie.
I think I remember that. I remember the Mario movie. Man, John Leguizamo, isn't that his name? The one that was in Ice Age that played the sloth. I think he was Luigi?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have seen that. I don't remember that much about it, but because, wow, oh my gosh. I'm trying to remember. They had some big green dudes, and they was all in an elevator or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember the movie too well, but I know it was terrible.
And then you get movies that just butcher classics. I don't know if you ever watched Adam Sandler's Pixels.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's basically, this is the description of the game. When aliens intercept video feeds of classic arcade games and misinterpret them as a declaration of war, they attack Earth, using the games as models. So basically, you've got Pac-Man running around in the street trying to kill you.
What? Okay, well, it sounds funny, but...
It got a 5.6 on IMDb and a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. And 2 out of 5 on Common Sense Media. That is how you butcher a franchise. And the worst thing is, they actually had the original developer in the movie.
Oh my, what? They had the original developer in the movie, and it was a terrible movie.
That is correct. They actually had, they had the, oh no, who was it? I don't think it was the original creator. I think it was possibly the lead developer or the publishing house's owner. I can't remember who it was, but they actually dragged one of the original creators of Pac-Man into the story. It felt like sacrilege. It felt horrible watching something so beautiful be turned into a movie about aliens attacking and taking the form of freaking classic gaming icons. They even did Donkey Kong. They even butchered Donkey Kong.
Wow. So
that's what I've always said. Games stay games, movies stay movies, books stay books. Whenever you try and bring those through a cross-platform and try and get them across the different genres, it doesn't work simply because of either content or constraints or something like that. I mean, if they wanted to properly make a movie, for example, of the Assassin's Creed lineage, obviously going per game as it came out each year, the movie would have to be like a 10-hour movie. And it would have to be like non-stop action. None of those boring, useless, pointless filler footage. It would have to be non-stop action the entire time for 10 hours straight to try and explain the amount of depth in story and all the people that you've come across. I mean, just think about it. Think back to when you played the Assassin's Creed game. Think about the amount of people that you met, NPCs that you interacted with, missions that you did that were critical to the story. And then 2 hours, a movie, and an apple, and going back in time, and no.
Oh man, I'm glad I didn't watch it then.
Like I said, after everything I've just said, it wasn't bad for what it was. It was still a good movie. It was still good to watch. After everything I've said, it was still good. But obviously, somebody who's loved the Assassin's Creed series from the original Assassin's Creed all the way through, I think when you're playing as Ezio for the very first time, I mean, it was decent. Wasn't great. Average, could do better. Wasn't too bad. No, I don't think I'd watch it a second time. If I was at a place where they was busy playing it for a second time, I'd probably watch it, but I wouldn't purposely go out of my way to either buy the video, buy the DVD, or possibly stream it, or watch it online, or anything like that. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it, let's put it that way.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I already told you, but Silent Hill's my favorite, right? And you see the movie, the first one, they absolutely butchered it. And then the second one was a little more tolerable, I have to say. A little more tolerable. Okay. But it's just like you say, you're trying to cram too much information into a movie. When it comes to Silent Hill, it's all that, their abstract religion and, trying to resurrect the new god and all this stuff. But that's not the main thing that makes you play Silent Hill. It's the monsters and the experiences and all that stuff. They try to make a movie out of it, and it turns into like some kind of weird cult. Did you ever watch it?
No, I have watched all the Silent Hill movies, and I'm honestly going to say I am a fan of it. But once again, there is a lot that obviously, content-wise, couldn't have been included into the original movies, quite simply because there was just too much information about the original outbreak, where everything comes from, why this, what Silent Hill actually is, and that it's not actually a physical place, and it's more a manifestation of the person's own guilt. I mean, the original information that was given to you in the game and what you what you found out throughout the entire game, I don't think it gets purveyed as well in the actual movies. But I am still going to say once again, I am still a very big fan of it. I mean, Silent Hill the series as a whole stays a very good series.
Well,
I mean,
yes, I'll agree with that.
2-3 movies made?
2, I don't know. I know there was something that came out that had to do with Silent Hill Shattered Memories, but it's like an indie film or something, and I haven't been able to find it. But I know about the 2 mainstream ones I watched, and like I said, it felt more like they were concentrating too much on the religion aspect of it. The whole resurrecting the new god and stuff, which isn't, it just kind of made it feel more like like I said, like a crazy cult movie. There's a group of people and they're all in a cult and they want this girl, I was like, it's kind of disappointing.
I agree with you. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things. But obviously, neither you or I are movie developers or game developers. So obviously, there are going to be games in the future and movies in the future that we aren't going to agree with. But that's a nice thing about an opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own.
That's good to have a discussion.
No, it is. It is. And like, I'm so passionate about it, especially when I start having a look at movies and games being like thrown into one another. I have to like bite my bottom lip and say, just relax, just calm down, don't freak out too much about it. Nobody's dying from this.
Right?
Some people enjoyed it. I mean, I've watched so many people that said that they actually enjoyed it. So many people that said that the movie was absolutely awesome. And then I turned to them and I'm like, okay, have you ever played the game of the respective movie? And they're like, there was a game? And I'm like, well, that's why you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Right? Well, they do have to make the movie for, the people that are outside the genre too, because, they're the ones, most of the moviegoers and stuff, they're not going to know what's going on if they didn't read the book or play the game or anything. So they do have to make it from like an outside the box looking in type situation, but
where hopefully you can figure everything out while you're watching it.
Right? Yeah. No, it's nice if the movie would cause people to go out and buy the game or buy the book, I
honestly think it has. Honestly, like, I used to play World of Warcraft a very, very long time ago. And I think the only thing that got to me is obviously that whole monthly subscription thing to obviously continue to play the game. And eventually I just got tired of it. Eventually I got over it. And I know some hardcore World of Warcraft fans out there are going to absolutely just freak out now if they hear me saying that.
No, I agree.
I got over it.
Yeah, that's me too. I used to play. But
you used to play?
Yeah, I used to play, and I got tired of, we had a raid to do on Monday, and why weren't you there? And you have to be here for this raid and that raid, or else we're going to kick you out of the guild. And I was like, man, this is not my life. I got to get out of here.
Yeah, no. Oh, the lovely communities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Reubin, we're running over an hour here. I want to thank you so much for coming back to the podcast for our second take.
It's my absolute pleasure. I'll tell you what, this time we covered absolutely nothing from the first time. It's not even like it was a whole new retake. It was just a whole new podcast.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's okay. Well, I do miss the comment about you saying that there was no lions in the street, and you don't own a pet giraffe. Okay,
now some clarity on that topic for those people that don't know. I'm South African, and kind of sitting in South Africa, it's 8 o'clock at night by me. It's probably like 1 o'clock in the afternoon there by Michelle. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, I mean, the time difference is amazing and that kind of stuff. But from South Africa, a lot of people that I've spoken to internationally have got this consensus, have got this idea that we still live in clay huts, that there's lions walking around in the streets. And I made just a joke the first time we obviously did this podcast. I just made the joke stating, like, I want to clarify, I don't have a pet giraffe. I don't have to run around worrying about lions crawling up on me. We are a fully developed country. We have a proper infrastructure.
Seriously,
I mean, I am using the internet right now.
That
I'm not talking to you for telepathy.
That's so funny. That made me laugh so hard. And like, even when I was editing or trying to edit the first podcast, every time I heard that would just crack me up that people would think that. That's so funny.
I mean, a lot of people don't actually realize. I mean, if you actually just do yourself a favor, like, for example, come onto Google, especially people that haven't traveled, who haven't thought about Africa or South Africa being a place to travel. I mean, if you actually just come to Google, just type in a couple of pictures, obviously, of like Cape Town or Johannesburg or Pretoria, or possibly some of the most beautiful open plains, for example, in the Free State. I mean, if you just Google places like that, you'll see that it's actually a beautiful place. Obviously, each country has got its quirks. Each country has got its dumps. I mean, I know for a fact America has got some as well. South Africa's got them. Every country in the world has got their bad sides as well. But I mean, a lot of people have this, for some weird reason, I think it's too many of those shows showing all the orphanages and that kind of stuff. They think that we still live in the veldt or something like that, live in the bush, and we work out of clay huts, and I hike 30 miles to get water, and I have to fight with a bear when I want to go to the shitter, like just something like that. And it's so far from that.
But, you know, it's because we don't get a lot of news over here. You know what I mean? We don't get news from South Africa over here. And so the only news that we get is like the, for 90 cents a day, you can feed a child, you know?
Yep.
That's it. Yeah.
No, I'm well aware. Trust me, I am in Africa, and even I get those ads and those advertisements on TV. And I'm like, no, they're just down the road.
Man. Well, Reubin, thanks again. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
And that it really is. I mean, every single time you and I end up in a conversation, we normally go so far off of script, it is not even funny. And it's always an absolute pleasure talking to you. And just want to say thanks from my side. Thanks for the invite. It really does mean a lot. And yeah, we had a lot of fun tonight.
Awesome. That's great. Well, I look forward to, hopefully you'll come back again then.
I'll be more than happy coming back. Enjoy these conversations. So next time you want me on here, next time you want to talk some more shit with me or possibly have topics that you want to cover, by all means.
Fantastic. Okay, guys, Reubin Knight, please subscribe to him, and thank you again. Bye.